So,
Seemed like a fun game.
you watched it?
I watched the end of it. I
Uh,
like the 2,000 gold kill for techies though. Very hardcore. It's a
yeah,
lot of money.
it was fucking horrible. It's like their lineup was literally if you don't end before 30 minutes, you lose eventually.
I guess.
Uh, alright, so the entry is about uh, you, how you discover gaming and the pro scene for yourself, and then some more direct questions to how it was for you.
Yeah, sure.
Alright,
All
so
right.
question number one would be how was your first contact with games?
Um, I started playing really early. Like we just had I'm the youngest of like family with 4 kids. So my older brother had like a Amiga or a Commodore. I can't remember. I just started playing games very early. When we got our first PC, I already started playing a lot. My other brothers would like go outside and do stuff like, you know, but I would just focus on getting good at playing video games. It
Go
was
right,
always
so
something I liked.
I see. Then when did you discover Dota?
Um, I would say that's roughly 15 years ago or something. Um, Honestly, for me, Dota, I discovered it around the time where um, my family was going through some heavy shit and I needed a distraction. And I found that this game kept me very challenged and occupied mentally. Like you put all your abilities into getting better, and it's a very challenging game. So it distracted me very well from maybe stuff you don't want to think about at the time.
Yeah, I see. I actually had the same when I started playing Dota. Like stuff happened
Yeah.
in family terms, and it's just like it's better to
It
focus.
started, for me, I would say it started probably as an escape, and then it turned into a hobby, and then later on, somewhere down the line, that turned into a full-time job.
That's nice. And then when did you exactly get into the pro scene? Like tournaments,
Um,
finding a team, stuff like that.
I started that pretty early, actually. Like playing, I always wanted to compete. Ever since I started playing Dota, I wanted to measure with others and see who can be the best, you know?
Mm.
I started pretty early to just play in different leagues that existed a long time ago. But um, I created a team and started competing in teams probably back in 2006. I'm gonna say 2007. I played at DreamHack, and uh, I went there with just classmates and close friends. None of them were really good at Dota, but we needed 5 players, so I told them I'm gonna win for us. You know, you just come to the LAN. I'm gonna show you what we do, and we do it. And we actually finished third, and the teams that were first and second, both of them had um, nowadays quite legendary players like Loda's old team or Melk's old team, MYM and SK. So I would say very early I discovered that I wanted to compete, and yeah, always wanted ever since.
Yeah, so my next question probably gets answered by it's like your goals back then were probably to
Yeah.
compete.
I would say back then the goals were very much just as you come along. Like you would see a tournament pop up. Like I remember one of the first tournaments that we used to go to was just a school LAN, like in a gym hall, you know, like
Yeah.
classic setup, and they had a 5,000 Swedish crown prize, which we thought was quite a lot. Now that's like less than $1,000. It's like more like $600 or something. But back then it seemed like a lot because there was no real competitive scene or anything. This was very long ago, and you just wanted to win that. So we actually won that LAN event a lot of times. Went there and always had fun. And eventually we traveled outside of Sweden and like went to Norway and to Denmark, played tournaments in the Ukraine. You know, like your goals just change as you go along. When you win a small tournament, you start looking outside and wanting more.
Yeah, I see. Yes, that's nice. Did you like everything you wanted to do? Did you gain it? Like from
No, I wouldn't say so because uh, I think every competitive level Dota player, especially in Dota 2, I would say in Dota 1, I achieved everything I wanted to do. Primarily, I played with a team, but I did it a lot because it was fun. Like, we played together as friends, and we were the same team for almost 4 years. And I had a lot of chances to go into a stronger team. But
Mm.
I didn't see it as a career choice yet. It was not my job, it was not a full time living. And there were no tournaments big enough to say, oh, you should screw over your friends and go with a career decision or something. So I played with my friends, and I think in Dota 1 I achieved everything I wanted with my friends. It was a lot of fun. In Dota 2, I think it's hard for any competitive player not to have the ambition to win TI or at least attend TI. Like those are the
Yeah.
two big steps: getting to TI or winning TI. Anyone who's been to TI, they want to win it next time. Um, and obviously, I've never gone to TI as a competitive player, so I would say I'm still not feeling fulfilled, and that's why I'm still even today in a team and competing.
But were you actually in TI as a caster once?
I cast TI 4 times actually.
Four times?
TI 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, I
Huh?
didn't cast TI 7. Oh wait, was it 4 or 3? I can't remember if I've been there 4 or 3 times. Either it was 3 or 4 times.
You were there.
I don't focus too much.
And then your current goals, like where you want to go?
Um, Currently, I would say my main goal is that I want to first of all just give all the effort that I can into my current team, and because I believe in them, I believe in them as players, and I think we have potential. So I want to give my best and see how far we can go together. Our goal as a team is probably not this TI because we would have to play extremely good and go through open and regional qualifier. Um, but we want to stick together because we really see potential. We've taken games off good teams, and um, so currently getting to any major event, I would say probably after TI is our realistic goal, and the long-term goal would be to go to TI 9, I guess. Yeah,
That sounds realistic enough. Like
as
I've
a
seen
as a
her.
team. And outside of that, I mean, I'm still keeping up with my streaming because it's my day-to-day job. It's what keeps me paying my rent and able to actually
Yeah,
do this. So uh, I put in a lot of hours because I first play in a team and then I have to stream. And outside of that, I also organized the training camp which we were going to host. And there's a lot of things going on, but it's really exciting.
yeah, it definitely is. Like as well with your team. Like I see the potential as well. You play really well
Yeah.
together.
I think the difference between being at the top or being at the close to the top level in Dota is so fine. It's like you need to work on few things. It's hard. It's hard to say exactly what you need to do to get better, right?
Mm.
Whereas if you take some more simple example, like I don't know, in sports, if you want to improve on running or something, you want to get faster. Well, okay, you just need to get faster, but this is very complex. It's like chess. You can't really say exactly what you need to do to improve. You just need to get better at everything, especially when there's a team play, which is the biggest hindrance I think for any team is working out those team play issues. Because the top level teams they have phenomenal team play and work really fast together.
Yeah, it can make a big difference.
Yeah,
Alright, thanks for those questions. And now it's more esports oriented. Like
sure.
back in the day when you like I think you played with Sing Sing. Like what was the team
Yeah.
name again?
Cupid, Red Pandas.
Oh yeah, Red Pandas. And it's like
Yeah.
was that the one where you had a like an actual contract?
We did. We were supposed to. I would say. I would say that that did not really work out. We would be. Our sponsorship did not work out so well. I never received any money for playing in that team, so I don't know if I should pin that on Cupid or on something else. But we were supposed to have a salary and we ended up not getting it, so it's unfortunate.
Yes.
Um, but other than that, I would say, yeah, that was one of the teams that had a contract. But I had played in teams already back in Dota 1 that had contracts. The thing is that back then sponsorship was very different. Normally in Dota 1 times, And long time ago, the contracts would look like, oh, if you qualify for an event, we'll fly you over there and get you a hotel and make sure you have travels and everything. But nowadays, all that is covered by the tournament organizers. So if you have a sponsor right now, you don't ask them for travel support. You ask them for, you know, what kind of a payment you would have, what kind of a salary, if they would take a percentage of your winnings, these kind of things.
I see.
So it's different.
Yeah, it's like definitely as well different from like a normal salary because
Yes.
like they take a base amount of your winnings, but you will get like at least something even if you lose events, right?
Normally, the teams have a monthly salary, which tries to be as similar as to a normal job as possible. And then on top of that, the teams take a certain percentage of the winnings. Western teams have a very low percentage, and Chinese and Eastern teams tend to have a higher percentage. So Chinese teams sometimes take like 25 or 30% of the winnings, maybe even higher. Whereas Western teams, it's not uncommon to have 0% of the winnings going to the organization. So it's very different. And it completely comes up if the team wants to have a percentage of the winnings, then they would have to pay a higher salary, right? That's how you negotiate.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
if the team doesn't want to give a high salary, I mean, any confident Dota player at a high level will probably not ask for a salary anyway, because if you're supported by a good team and they don't take any of your prize money, you just have a good team, and that's going to help you get into tournaments due to invites, as we know. Um, then that's sort of the biggest thing, and they provide all the support, you know, um, coaches and so on.
Mm. All right. And then
Uh,
like back then, you were already starting with streaming and only playing Dota as a job. And how did you actually finance yourself through that time?
um, so I started when I played Dota and started streaming. I was still studying at the University of Lund in Sweden, and at first it wasn't really giving me much money or anything. I didn't have too many viewers, so I was still living off my salary from or my money from studying.
Mm.
Um, and after a while, I got a chance to go into QPAD. And after QPAD, I would say when we played together in QPAD, me, Sing, Select, Mini, uh, you know, and
Yeah.
EGM was with us at first as well, but he later on left, and then we had Jerax. So after that, we gained a lot of recognition, though. Me and Sing Sing both got a lot more popular on our streams, more people watching due to the competitive games that we had played. So at that point, I started financing myself on my ad revenue and donations. And yeah, there was a time when I lived in a good studio where I had a total of like $80 on my bank account. Like I had no money at all, and I was owing. I I was kind of in debt to my mom. I owed her like $200, and I only had 100 or $80 on my account. So I didn't even have money for food, and I had no salary. And then my stream really started becoming popular, and a lot of people were watching, and some people donated to the stream, so I could get a new computer and get higher quality. And of course, with that, even more people enjoyed the stream. That was really a turning point. Like I had no money for food even. Like we, it's funny to joke about, but it was kind of serious, I guess, because we were living in Good Studio for free. James let us live there for free. Me, Sing Sing, Jerax, Mini, and Select, all of us lived there for free while we wanted to. And me, Jerax, and Sing Sing lived there for a long time. I lived there 13 months. Um, and he never asked for any rent or anything. He was completely cool with us just being there and trying to make a full-time living of gaming. And at some point, after 13 months, I felt confident that this is going to work out. And I had a meeting with my bank. I told them I had like 300 subscribers on my Twitch. I told them like I'm having stable income now, and I want to take a loan and get my own apartment. And that was the step into it. So
Yeah, definitely like no money for food. Like other teams.
yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, but yeah, like you know Draskell. lived in the house as well, and
Yeah.
he would order family-sized pizza every time that he ordered food, and whatever he didn't eat, because I mean he was skinny as well. Like whenever he didn't eat, he would just leave it so that me and Scruff, who were probably the two who were the tightest on money, had something to eat. Because I know that Scruff was pretty much in the same situation as me, so we appreciated that a lot. And it was honestly a good studio. It was a really nice atmosphere because everyone just, you know, people took care of each other, kind of thing.
Hmm.
I kind of miss it. I miss that living.
Well, not the no money part.
Not the no money part. I mean, it's definitely nice to be able to buy food. It's definitely nice to be able to show your family and friends as well that what you're doing is working out for you. You can justify spending all these hours playing a game because that's the thing as well, right? Like, uh, you gotta put in so many hours to be able to get to a point where you are good enough that anyone would even want to watch you. I think.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, actually, for me, it's similar. Like, my father says it more and more. It's like it needs to pay off because I use so many hours playing this game. It's like I can't do
Yeah.
anything else. But I want to keep trying. I want to get there as well somehow, but in a different
Yeah.
way. Like,
Yeah. I mean, it's just as long as you're able to take care and balance other things in your life. I mean, I took a risk when I left the university because I had safe money there. I had a safe education, so I took a risk when I left that for full-time gaming. Um, and I can't really say that it would be, wise to do it or something, but I felt very confident because if it failed, I could always go back to university. I had a guaranteed slot, and like I felt like it was what I wanted to try, and I did it because who knows? You can't really do this when you're like 50 or something, right?
yeah.
So if you have a chance, you take it, and I felt like there was a chance.
Alright.
Obviously, the competitive life maybe didn't really work out so good yet, but there's still hopes and dreams. So
Yeah, they always were. Like, your team has potential. Let's just work on that.
yeah,
Then it will
yeah, it's
definitely
always
show.
hard because Dota is the toughest part is that it's not a game where it's all about you. It's about building a team, building something strong together. 5 players working out together and becoming a strong unit. You know,
Mm.
so you can be as dedicated and committed as you want, and you can do everything right, and it might still fail. Like that's the risk that you have in competitive Dota. You can do everything right and play completely perfect, and still everything might fail just because some internal issues, atmosphere is not good, or some players, a completely different mindset than other players. So that's kind of the toughest part I think about committing to a team and playing competitive Dota compared to just streaming and focusing on yourself.
Yeah, it's like that's why a lot of people are constantly getting swapped out, and that's probably why Valve put
Yes,
it in the system that you
and
need.
that only adds as well to what I just said as well. Because
Yeah.
imagine you have one player who's really shining in your team, really doing great, and your team is maybe still having potential, but you're not coming together yet. And then that one player gets picked out for a higher level team. Well, then you're back where you started, right? Like maybe even worse off because now you're missing some player that was looking really good, and that's the downside of playing in like a team that's not at the highest level. Even at the highest level, it still happens though, right? So many
Yeah.
times that players have been kicked or poached from one team and
It's
joined a bigger team,
it's like
and and that really sets you back. Like so tough.
Team Secret is like, yeah, people
Yeah,
constantly getting
yeah,
kicked.
yeah. Team Secret has very interesting history of that.
But I think like they do something different than others. Like they just want to find the perfect combination, not like try to fix a lot of things. Like if
Yeah,
something is like impossible to fix, it's just like they need to change it up and try with someone else.
I think I think it's smart as well from a standpoint of you don't know like um, from the whole if things are not going to work out and you can tell they're not going to work out, you might as well cut the players that you don't think are gonna work early, so that you don't waste everyone's time. Just kind of like get over it and get into a new situation. But at the same time, though, that has to be that you feel this is never gonna work. You have to be at that
Yeah.
level, right? Because if you feel like this could work the same way that we feel in our team and every player in my team right now, very confident, um, then it would be a horrible idea to kick someone if it can work but it's not working yet. It's only if you're like feeling it's all over.
We lost kind of state.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like through the time of Dota, like, did you ever had an issue with like game constantly updating and competition changing and stuff like that?
No, I actually think that's one of the beautiful things in Dota is that it's constantly updating and being one of the first to figure out a new patch is always exciting. Like it's always fun because then you can be a trendsetter in a way. Dota is we always used to call it that in Dota 1 as well, that Dota is a trend-based game. We would often see it in Dota 1 even more than in Dota 2, that whenever a LAN event happened and people went there, and one team started dominating with a certain hero, every team started looking at that hero, and that was the trend. And that still sort of exists in Dota 2, only on a much bigger level. So now it's like not so much about tournaments, it's more about just pubs and what people are doing that looks effective. The moment someone does it, everyone starts copying. It's very much a copycat game, but it's cool to be the person being copied.
Yeah, like I try to jump out of it by creating something on my own.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I
it's
know.
it's not
You're doing very creative stuff.
it's not too effective, but I'm figuring out like there are a lot of interesting mechanics that like a lot of people are just like they don't want to discover it, they just want to win. And that's the thing I don't like at the moment. That a lot of people are just copycatting at the moment from like
Yeah.
100 people. Want to try to bring something new in, like make
Yes, and
people know.
I'm currently trying that, and I have a few things in mind already. You know, with the recent patch, a few things in mind for different heroes and what could be the next. Because that's always the most fun part when you read the patch notes and you see that OD got nerfed a lot, and you think to yourself, which mid hero is the new hero, which carry is the new hero. It's exciting to try and figure out, and so far I haven't seen a lot of people doing what I'm thinking is gonna be the next patch, so I'm excited.
It's the same for me, but with item builds. Like I like to see like what is tweaking the build a bit, what's make it more effective. Like little
Yeah,
gold costs is positioned for no gold. How do I work it out?
that's true.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, as a position 4, you have a lot less to work.
Uh, then next question will be like, how was it to like if you meet your opponents, especially in early days where it was a lot with friends and just local tournaments? Like if you beat your opponent or just played against them, how was the how do you say it? The connection with them, like talking
Oh,
afterwards or talking with them?
um, I mean, it's been different at different events that you go to as well. I would say the atmosphere has always been really fun. Every LAN I ever gone to, I think, competitive or just house LANs or school organized LANs or whatever. But at any level, it's always been so fun because it brings everyone together who wants to compete in Dota. So it's cool from that point of view. A lot of pro players just love hanging out with each other as well, and talk about stuff and look at replays. So, like, but the feeling of beating someone that it's I would say it's cool. It's mostly just you're trying to get the better of your friend and see if you can outsmart them.
It like really sounds so like an anime rivalry. It's like
It
I will beat you.
it is very much a rivalry can happen between some players. I think individually as well. And even when I've gone to LAN events just casting stuff, I still get to, I still had a great time just talking to a lot of people. Because when I went to TI as a caster, I was the highest MMR caster at any of the events that I went to as a TI caster. So out of the pro players, a lot of them sat down and talked with me during breakfast, or I could sit down with them, and you make great friend connections and so on. So if I ever play against some of the people that I know really well now from that, that would be a great time, and kind of would be something I'm looking forward to achieving as well, playing more big tournaments.
Alright. But what questions are on German? Oh yeah, it's like when you started, it's like the the. I actually need to translate that word. It's a really really weird one. Oh, expectations, exactly. Like the with the expectations, if you have fans and you need to achieve something, otherwise, like when you don't have the current money or you need to win the tournament, and if you're going to get kicked out of the tournament if you lose, like that kind of situation. How do you deal with those?
I think my way of dealing with it, everyone might have different way, would be to just view every game as just an individual game. It's just any other game. Like the best way for me to look at it, at least, and try to take some focus off the value of the game. It's always when I play the best. If I can just relax, I've played tens of thousands of games of Dota before, and the more you think about it, the worse you're gonna play. So just letting it flow naturally and not worry too much is the most important thing. And something we still struggle to work with a little bit, or maybe something we need to work with more in our team right now, to just find that um, feeling of not letting anyone down in your team if you mess up. I think that's pretty much what it comes down to. You have a fear of messing up because everyone else on your team is, really good and you want to do good for them as well. But then maybe because of this fear, you don't play the way you would normally. So that's why just take it as any other game and just do your best.
I actually see it in a similar way. If you put it too high, it's like you play fear. Like there were tournaments where both teams were just like, we can't lose this, and it's just like they were all sitting like behind tier threes, it's just like waiting, don't want
They
to take any risks.
Yes, and we can see that as well by watching um, the free to play or the True Side episodes. You can see I found particularly interesting how the Liquid versus Newbie showdown was, and
Mm.
hearing what they said to each other after they just lost to Liquid. The Chinese team, we hearing the way they communicated. We were just watching the True Sides and just hearing what they said after the game, you know that they're gonna lose the next game already because of
Mm.
the way they're talking. And of course, you play at TI, you play at the highest level possible game. When you're in the finals of TI, semifinals and grand finals, at that level, the stress has to be higher than ever. But when you hear a team start talking the way they did in the True Side episodes, for instance, and you start um, not just taking it as one game, but you focus everything. Like this is for millions of dollars, guys. Don't fuck up. The moment you start going into this, I think you lose. You beat yourself, and yeah,
Well,
it's a tough thing to do.
for Nubia in particular, it's just like they were like the only Chinese team in like already in the quarters, I think. It's like all the burden of them like playing for China, making them proud.
I
Like,
think I think they were the only Chinese team.
oh
Was
yeah,
it already in quarters? I think it was from the semifinals, maybe. But yeah, maybe you're right. They definitely carried the torch, so to say, and then they went up against Liquid, who were super strong. Um, so they probably felt more pressure. And like you said, China is a very um, patriotic fan base, you could say.
mm,
Like, you want to make China proud, is what you hear a lot of players say in interviews. They want to do good for their country, which is not so common. If you talk to GH or someone, it's probably not gonna say, "Yeah, I'm doing this for my country." Like probably not. He's like well, maybe he's proud that he does it for his country, but he's just doing it because him and his team just want to play the best Dota they can. You know, like
Mm.
that was the feeling that you got. And I think Batumba man put it really well. He's like, yeah, sometimes I don't have so much fun. I don't get to do what I want to do, but I do what is best, and I just, I don't complain. I just do it, and that's how we're gonna win. Like, it's such an easygoing attitude compared to the pressure.
Yeah, it really is. Then when you were in like main stages and bigger tournaments, it's like, did you had the pressure or like going onto the main stage and playing there?
I would say so. I didn't play very many tournaments that were like high pressure because in like my most of my competitive games were in either Dota 1 or early Dota 2 days on events, and from that um, there were a lot of people watching. But back then in Dota 1 you would watch replays, you wouldn't watch the games live, so there was no live pressure really, um, not as much at least. And in Dota 2 I would say probably some of the times I should have had the most pressure is casting at TI, right?
Mm.
And at some point, casting with Toby, I think we had hundreds of thousands of people listening to us during a cast. Um, but I don't think about it at all because as soon as you sit down and you look at the monitor and in front of you is Dota, which you have played for, probably more than 30,000 hours, you're very comfortable in that. So I don't get nervous because of a lot of people watching because they're there to listen to what you have to say, and you just I don't know, I just trust in myself that I can say something that someone will find valuable.
And with that,
um
you want to say something more?
nah, nothing else.
With that, the last question would be like, you build up quite a big fan base around you, and the things you do over the years, and it's just like, how is it for you that there are people, a lot of them actually, that like really like the way you are and what you're doing?
Super unreal, even to this day. It's I don't think it will ever change because if it did it probably would have by now. But to even just start your stream and realize there quite quite instantly there's like at least 500 people tuning in. After maybe 10 minutes or 20 minutes you have over 1,000 people watching. uh, it's kind of mind-blowing, that so many people care about you playing a video game. But at the same time I think I draw a lot of energy from it, and I want to do better because of all the people who follow and support me. So they push me to do harder, and but it's an unreal feeling I can't really describe. It's just the same way anytime anyone subscribes to your channel or supports you in any way, it's just it always feels kind of weird but amazing.
Yeah, it's
It's
just
the
like,
kind of feeling you will never get used to, I think.
it's like when you started streaming and people started donating, like it's like so weird because people are sending money to you. Like it doesn't really look like money the way they put it on Twitch if you're not donating directly money, but if you're subscribing, it's just like,
Yeah,
you still need to keep in mind it's like people
I
actually
mean,
giving their earnings to you to watch you play a game.
even just thinking about people who have been subscribed, people who have been subscribed for me for 4.5 years now in
Yeah.
a row without missing a single month. And there's a lot of people who have done that, and that's just remarkable. 4.5 years is a very long period of time to
It
still be
really is.
supporting one person. You know, personally, uh, I find it amazing, and I think it's one of the cool differences between successful people in streaming or in esports. A lot of competitive esports players are also streaming, also have direct supporters like this. And I think that's one
Mm.
of the cool things, and that's kind of unique to gaming.
It really
That the
is.
fan base, I mean, even the TI prize pool is a similar feeling, I think, because when you see that prize pool go up and you see it go over 10 million, over 20 million, and this year probably over 30 million, you know,
Mm.
it's insane that the fan base of Dota can do that. Like no other game does that. It's really astonishing.
It's especially like there are not even that many people that play Dota compared to how much money gets flowed in.
Exactly. Well, this goes back to one of the things that I've researched and seen myself is that the Dota player base is, of course, an older average player base
Mm.
than League of Legends or other similar games. Because Dota is not necessarily targeted to a younger audience, and that means that if they're targeting slightly older player, then these players maybe they have jobs, maybe they have, maybe they have been working for a while, maybe they are about to be done at university. These are people who have started living their lives and have disposable income at this point.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, it's good for any game developer to have a player in their game, but a 13-year-old or a 20-year-old, it's very different what kind of support they can give to the game that they love. Like I wouldn't buy a lot of skins if I was 13. Just saying, my mom would be she would stop that shit.
Oh.
So I think that's probably why Dota can be so outstanding.
Yeah, it definitely as a part of it. It's like
And it's a game that's existed for more than 15 years. I mean, it's the time that people have been fans. A lot of people have been
yeah,
long-time fans.
a lot of people are playing since a lot of years. Like
Yeah,
especially
even casual players that are not competitive level. Like I have viewers who have played the game since 10 years back, and they love it. Just as much.
yeah.
And that's pretty cool to have had the same game exist for that long time and still be interesting.
Well, it's part of the updating. Like a lot of other games, it's
Yeah.
just like we got the game easy. We get as much money as possible. It's like then it's done.
And it gets figured out, is what I feel like. It's so common. I think other games can kind of become stale if nothing happens, but Dota keeps things interesting and fresh. And there were times in Dota 1 where you would go for a very long time without a patch, maybe
Mm.
6 or 7 months without a big patch or something. And then suddenly it came and everything changed, like a lot of things changed. And even in Dota 2, we had some massive patches before, and now we have the 2 week system instead with patches every other week,
Yeah,
which, obviously now Valve might be reconsidering. They said we're going to try this and we'll see if they change it.
it's like the problem with both systems is like one can make it stale and like broken stuff. If there's really broken stuff, it's hard to fix it correctly if you want to do it in a
Yeah.
big patch. And with this
If it
patch,
stays, yeah, if the broken stuff stays forever, that's the most frustrating thing,
that
I
was
believe.
like last TI. It was so frustrating. It's just like, oh, all the green magic heroes are like really strong, and almost everything else is like, if you don't
Yeah.
pick one of those heroes, it's not good for your
Viper,
team.
Venno, and Necros, sir. Gotta get them. And some Furion. Gotta get those green heroes.
Get those green heroes, win TI.
Get your greens. Very important. All right. Do you have any other question
Nah,
or anything
that'll
else?
be actually it. It's like
All right.
all I need.
Good luck with the presentation of the interview.
Thanks, thanks for
Yeah.
answering all the questions. It's like
Yeah. No
nice
worries.
input.
No worries. No worries. And we'll play together sometime soon, dude.
Yeah.